Hi, good morning everyone. Welcome to the virtual classes. So in the last class we discussed about SBI, its objectives and functions. And also I told you we need to understand individually commercial banks, regional rural banks and local area banks. So in this session I'm going to explain you about commercial banks and regional rural banks, their functions and objectives. So quickly slide commercial banks. So what is commercial bank? Maybe you all know the answer for this. Commercial bank is any financial institution that offers banking services for a general public as well as for companies. And the main aim is making profit. So that is why we call it commercial bank. Uh, they're doing banking activities to help commercial activities, and in nature also they're commercial. That means they're business minded, they wanted to make a profit. So the main aim of commercial bank is making profit. So I hope all of you understood this. Next we will move to the functions of commercial banks. Now when we speak about functions of commercial banks, mainly there are two types of functions: primary functions, secondary functions. First we discuss about primary functions and then we'll move to the secondary. See, in a primary, it is all common points. That means all the commercial banks, they will do this normal functions. First one is accepting deposits. See here, you need to understand there are different types of accounts which accepts different types of deposits. For example, savings bank account deposits, current account deposit, recurring account, fixed account. For a savings bank account deposit and current account deposit, we call demand deposit. I'm sorry, for these two we call demand deposit. A recurring account and fixed account we call time deposit. Because whenever you are depositing your money into the savings bank account or current account, and whenever you demand for that money, bank must return it. That is why it is demand deposits. Recurring and fixed, in this case you are depositing it for a fixed period. So that is, it is based on the time for 5 years, 10 years. So within that time we cannot take. After the maturity you can take back your money. That's why it is time based deposit. So they accept different types of deposits. Then they also give different types of advances. That means giving loans, cash credit, overdraft facility, or discounting bills. Loans, you know, the short term, long term, different types of loans. Cash credit, what is the difference between loans and cash credit? Cash credit means they will credit money into your account, but they impose interest only on the amount which you withdrawn. That means if you withdrawn some money from a bank, imagine they credited some 50,000 into your account, you withdrawn only 10,000, they impose interest only on that 10,000. You have to pay only for that 10,000. But in case of the loan, if you are taking loan, so the entire amount, whether you are using it or not, you have to pay the interest. Overdraft facility, you all know about credit cards. So even if you are having minimum or less balance, low balance in your account, you can purchase any goods or services more than that. For that we call overdraft. That means you are having 5,000, but you can purchase for a 20,000. So 15,000 extra you are doing transaction. So for that we call overdraft facility. Apart from this two, accepting deposits and advances, they also create credit creation. So whenever they give loans, automatically it creates credit. Then uses of check and remittance of funds. For remittance of fund, they use different methods. Remittance means transferring money. It may be RTGS, NEFT, okay, using demand drafts, checks. So transferring money from one place to another place or one person to another person, that is remittance of funds. So these are the primary functions of all the commercial banks. Now, secondary functions. See, already I gave this question for a assignment yesterday. So you all wrote the functions of commercial bank. That is why I'm not explaining much about these points. I just give you one line explanation. Just I'm briefing it. In a secondary function, the first one is agent functions. That means I told you commercial banks act as a agent, especially when I explained SBI. I told you this. They act as a agents. So agent functions under that payment and collection of dividends related to shares, debentures. Then purchase and sale of securities, acting as executor and trustee. So this is also an important function. So bank acts as a trustee and executor on behalf of someone. They will do that, and acting as an attorney. Attorney means some any person, they can appoint one more person, another person, to act on behalf of them. For that we call attorney. So in most of the cases, banks act on behalf of their customers in many transactions. That is acting as an attorney. Then miscellaneous functions, you all know, safe custody of valuables. That means giving lockers for gold, silver, ornaments. Then letter of credit. Yesterday I explained it is a guarantee letter given by buyer's bank to the seller. Uh, then traveler's check. Traveler's check, it is a kind of check similar to the check, but here there is no commission charged on this check, and there is no expiry date for this check. That is the uniqueness apart from the normal check. Dealing in a foreign exchange, they will do the forex, and house financing, they will give house loan, personal loan, everything. Tax consultation, they will also help their customers by giving tax advices, consultation. Underwriting shares or debentures. Yesterday I explained this concept. Underwriting means they will just pledge with some other company. You issue your shares to the public. If a public not subscribing all the shares, we will buy that shares, they will say. For that, underwriting we call. Then consultancy functions. Just now I told you, consultancy means helping the customers regarding their investments, tax planning, everything. And other customer services. There are different other customer services. A customer care executive to clear the doubts, queries of the customers, or ATMs, different other types of customers. So these are the functions of commercial banks in a quick way. I glanced all the points. I hope all of you understood, because all are simple and direct points, and you already wrote an assignment on this question. That's why I'm not explaining much. Now I'll move to the next topic, regional rural banks. Very important topic. See, this regional rural bank, the name itself is telling. The main purpose of the bank is rural development. See, the RRBs were established on the recommendation of Narasimhan Committee. When I explained in a previous class evolution of Indian banking system, I spoke about Narasimhan Committee also. Okay, they recommended for this RRBs, regional rural banks. And these RRBs came into existence on Gandhi Jayanti in 1975. First, they formed Prathama Gramina Bank. Okay, by this came into exist. Government of India passed RRB, that is Regional Rural Banks Act 1976, by an ordinance to give a legislative backup. After implementing these banks, after establishing these banks, Government of India, they passed an ordinance and they brought Regional Rural Banks Act 1976 just to give more support legally. Then regional rural banks are regulated by RBI and supervised by NABARD. See, this is one important point you need to understand, because in most of the videos or most of the books you can find, everyone says NABARD regulates regional rural banks. But see, Reserve Bank of India regulates RRBs, but NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, they supervise the RRBs. So this is a difference. So regulator is RBI, supervising work done by NABARD. So the purpose of regional rural banks. It is set up with a view to developing the rural economy by providing financial assistance and trade, commerce, industries, and to the different other sectors, especially in a rural area and semi-urban areas. And to whom these benefits is available. From this regional rural bank, most of the peoples are getting benefits, but in that, very importantly, small and marginal farmers. It is available to the small and marginal farmers, then agricultural laborers, artisans. Artisan means people, those who do some handicraft items, some toys, okay, handmade toys. Uh, Small entrepreneurs, small businessmen in a rural area, and other small industrialists. So, objectives of regional rural banks. I told you, regional rural banks, the area is limited for these banks. Okay, that means within a district or within a state, they operate their banking activities. How the area is limited, in the same way, their objective also limited, their functions also limited. So that's why I taken only three main functions. So first one is bridging the credit gap in a rural area. That means in an urban area, there are so many commercial banks to help people. But in a rural area, commercial banks, they're not coming forward to open a bank. That is why to bridge that credit gap, to create a credit in a rural area, to make the peoples to start their own business. Okay. So bridge the gap, government came with this plan, regional rural banks, actually recommended by Narasimhan committee. Government accepted it because it is very helpful to the India, because we all know that India is almost 75% is rural based. That is why it is very useful. Next, to develop such measures which could restrict the outflow of rural deposit to the urban area. If there is no bank in a rural side, what they will do, they will deposit all their money in a urban area. That means in a rural area, the money flow, it will become very less. That is why to develop that uh, inflow and outflow, to control that inflow and outflow of the money within a rural area, they planned for that regional rural banks. Next, to reduce regional imbalance and also to generate more employment opportunities in a rural area. So these are the three main objectives. When we speak about the functions, of course, it grants loans and advances to the different people. I told you already, mainly they focus on small farmers, agricultural laborers, artisans, and entrepreneurs in our rural and semi-urban areas. Then regional rural banks provides banking services. Of course, they provide banking services. That means accepting the deposits, lending, loans. Then loans to artisans to encourage artistic works. They're giving some special loans for artisans to encourage artistic works. Encourage the savings habit among the rural and semi-urban population. And another function is encouraging the people, the semi-urban population and rural population, to go for more and more savings. And here, see, the regional rural banks mainly they focus on rural development. That is the main agenda of these banks. So these are the simple functions. I hope all of you understood in a simple way. These questions not so much important for your university examinations, but I'm sure this knowledge is very useful, okay, for your higher studies and for competitive exams. So as we're studying this subject, you must know the basics at least. That is why I'm explaining, even though it is not that much important for exam, I'm explaining. But I'm sure they will ask one simple question related to this regional rural banks in your university exam. thank you so much. Have a nice day. If you have any doubts, please ask me in a comment box. Thank you.